And we live.
Ready?
Think so. All right. There
It
it is.
is.
Episode
Episode
6.
6.
Here we go. Here we
Yes,
go. Here we
indeed.
go, man. We gonna jump into it real fast today, man.
Yes, indeed.
Long week, but it
Yes,
was
sir.
exciting. A lot of information out there, a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
things to digest, man. From
Definitely.
Shannon Sharp,
Man, shout out to all,
Um,
man.
NFL draft,
Yes,
man.
sir.
And, you know,
Crazy.
just some other topics we always like to talk about, man.
Indeed.
So let's get to the nitty gritty, bro.
Let's do it, bro. I'm ready.
Should do a Sanders.
Start from the top.
Let's start with the top.
I'll let you. I'll let you start it off, bro.
Yeah, man. Quarterback position, you know, that's something that I play. You know, I value that position. And he's one of the top over the last couple of years from what I've seen. You know what I'm saying? From being able to read.
Right.
That's something that I always value in a quarterback. You know, composure in the pocket,
Indeed.
presence. Only thing that typically, because it's not what I do.
Okay.
Know, it's that social media presence. That's just something different from me. Because
Right.
what I see him do,
Right.
I'm like, dang, I wish it's certain moments where he can maybe dial it back, but that's him.
Right.
That's him. So
Right.
it's like I have to take what he gives us as, you know, what it is. So
Indeed.
But man, that was interesting.
Man.
Fifth round.
to be projected in the top 10, bro, and to
Yeah.
be the 144th player.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Something like that. I just know it was fifth round. I don't know what
5 quarterbacks picked beforehand.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy, man.
So to me, all the owners and GMs, they colluded together.
Oh, for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I was talking to my partner. He was like, "Man, you know what, E? I think what they did was they all sat in on the group chat, FaceTime, something,
Right.
and they was like, hey, who wants Shedeur Sanders as a quarterback?
Gotcha.
They got those GM teams to raise their hand.
Gotcha.
Cool. Okay. Here's what I need you all to do if you want this pick.
Right.
Because it's a game. Like,
Indeed.
if you think about the money that's behind these teams,
Right.
How they maneuver and make decisions.
Right.
You know,
Indeed.
so,
man, I'll dive into it too, man, get my takes on it. And I've listened to other commentary about it also. In my opinion, I think to your point, what I think happened was he didn't take the process seriously. I think that, you know, shout out to Coach Prime. I think it was ill-advised, bro, as far as the professionalism that's required throughout. You know, and of course, Coach Prime speaking on, you know, playing a demanding family role as far as certain teams he wasn't going to. And I think although Dion himself had that cachet, I just don't think, you know, the shield, if you will, accepted that energy. You know, as far as this is, we're gonna let you navigate and maneuver, because if you allow it on the front end, now you're dealing with him coming into the locker room. Now you're dealing with him dealing with workouts and just being a little more hands-on. So I think that alone scared some teams, how he handled the process. And as you mentioned, the social media presence. Yeah. The song came out, you flexing the watch, you know.
Yeah, the song?
Oh, for sure. Perfect timing. You never heard it?
Nah, I never heard the song.
Perfect timing. If you look at the recordings, when he got drafted, he was talking to somebody on the computer, and thereafter played perfect timing. And I just think to the social media point, big dog, you got to dial it back on the flex, because you got to think about it. It's an open market as far as the amount of money you made in NIL, $3-4 million. Yeah, that was more than most guys gonna make in their first contract. That's just that's just the reality of it. So you got to think about the envy and jealousy that came with that also, and then by you being a young black man. If it's acceptable by the Johnny Manziel, it's acceptable by, you know, anybody that's a different race. Just calling it what it is.
Spade is spade.
But a confident, smart, rich, young black man, that's a problem. When you couple that to where either it's your dad, you or your dad, society has an issue with confident black men. They just call it what it is, bro. Like, in the various phases of life, not just from a sports standpoint, you're fighting against the corporate model as well. You know, it is not necessarily always a race thing, but you just got to find a happy medium, because no matter how you conduct yourself, people gonna find a problem with you anyway. Because you should be happy to be in this position. You should be thankful to be in this position. Let's call it what it is. Yeah. And I remember one guy, I was listening to one part, I think it was NFL talk about it, saying that he jumped the very pool he jumped in when he did get drafted. Like, that wasn't a stunt. He grew up in that pool. Like, they were just giving the emphasis of, this is how this young man has lived. So it's kind of like that elitist energy too. And I just think all those things combined as to why it happened the way it happened. And my last point I'll make, from a productivity standpoint, he had the numbers. He has the ability. he had the backing from Tom Brady. Who else can back you up? You know, I just think it was just the NFL saying on the front end, we don't care what this young man think he's going to make. You know, that dude was projected. If he was in the top 10, $45 million was the range. Down to 4.5, maybe. Come on, man. That's a major pay cut.
But
and hold on,
okay, go ahead.
I don't remember if it was either the coach or the GM said that once it got to a point where he was just a bargain pick compared to where he was going to be in the front end, they had to take the chance, which is why they took him and Gabriel from Oregon. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know how draft picks and contracts work, but so him being a top 10 projected,
right?
But getting drafted in the 5th round.
Yes.
He still can't negotiate like a first round?
Not at all.
But is it a blockade to that?
I think it's just a salary. It's salary numbers. You know, so when you talk about the signing bonus, that's the biggest thing as far as.
So it's a stipulation where if I draft you 1st round, you automatically get
a certain range of signing bonus. Yes. Okay. Compared to if you're in later picks, yeah, you may be. It's advantageous as far as the numbers because now you sign a 4-year deal compared to a 5-year deal if you're a 1st round guy. And then not only the 5th year, now they can franchise you. So you mess around and be at 7 years. So compared to when you in your first contract, that's only 4 years, and then I just say you outdo your contract. Now they can pay you in your third going to your 3rd year before your last year.
So he's better off coming in as a free agent.
There it is right there. And that's what guys don't understand. When you on that day 3,
yeah,
4th round and out, you might as well just sign because from there you can choose your destiny.
Yeah.
You can pick your team.
You can do a 1-year contract, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, they'll bring you on as a camp guy initially, but those contracts have to be structured.
Still based on a certain structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rookie scale.
Damn, bro. Yep. So he kind of locked in now with earning potentials.
Right.
So that was the lesson learned.
Oh, most definitely. But think about it. Damn. In anything in any situation when you're fighting a corporate model, what are they gonna try to hit you at first? Your
money. So in this case, right, is this were they going after his dad and his stature? Or what he's going to do?
I think it was definitely to hurt Coach Prime.
Yeah.
Because think about it. This man has reached the highest heights of anybody. When you talk about Hall of Fame, the amount of money, the women, the notoriety. We might not have been able to get
never slacked off.
Right. We may not have been able to get you.
Right.
We're going to get them season rules.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. That was a lesson for me as a father. Mm-hmm. Seeing that sometimes people want to hurt you so bad and want the worst for you to where they're not able to actually get their hands on you. They're gonna get their hands on your kids in some way, shape, or form, and that's what's.
And that's crazy, man. If you think about the top athletes of, who we saw in our generation,
right?
A lot of their kids just ain't really have the best opportunities. If you look at, Jordan,
right?
Tim Hardaway's son balling,
right?
He a role player,
right,
you know what I'm saying? Right. Like it's very rare. Bronny still got some time to kind of showcase, but
indeed,
it's like it's a lot of times it's hard to even outdo what your
partner did. Yeah, for sure, so, easy.
But with Shador being in a position as quarterback, he can though.
Indeed,
he can go out and win 2-3 Super Bowls.
For sure,
and
for sure,
be seen in that certain limelight. You know what I'm saying? But
now let's compare that to Shai. He's just happy to be around.
Yeah.
Man. Big, amazing big brother. I mean, kept the dude upbeat the whole time, dancing with him, and then to get signed by the Bucks, he's actually in a better situation. I'm just calling it what it is.
Hey,
he's in a better situation. Now, granted, I forget the young man's name. He's actually a junior too. The safety back there, man. I forget his name. He just signed a big deal, so he may not play.
Yeah.
But if he able to make the team, that's a bonus, man. That's a bonus.
I mean, but he was a decent DB though.
Shallow.
Yeah.
He took a lot of bad angles. He did. He put some bad tape out there. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Now he is a hard hitter.
Okay.
He's a hard hitter. I think he's durable. I think he's overall a reliable guy. I don't know much about his cover skills because I think he was more so strong safety. I don't know if he played free.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, man, he got a shot. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And in that league, all you can ask for is opportunity. That's it. The opportunity I wish I had. You know what I mean? Any guy that played, if you put that helmet on, all you can ask for is an opportunity. Yeah. Because when they give you that jersey, you go on that field, guess what? Somebody gonna take a picture of you. And I don't care if you played just that season, you can carry that picture with you to whom years thereafter saying, I got an opportunity. That's all you can ask for.
So let's take this whole situation a little bit deeper, right? If you think about other areas of life, whether that's you work in in the corporate sector.
For sure.
You know, you going to work retail at Target or
Right.
anything like that, right?
Right.
Those same situations can happen.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, how can we help structure, you know, Black men when it comes to personality, character, in
Right.
the sense of how you present yourself first? Because
Right.
I remember when I first joined the workforce, man, my afro used to look crazy. It was like, you remember the twist that like they kind of got style now. You got the afro with the little twist at the end,
Mm-hmm.
but I ain't never had a line up, bro. Like I ain't have nothing going.
Gotcha.
So I ended up getting this particular job, and my brother was like, "Oh, you should go in there with your hair cut."
Gotcha.
I'm like, "Why cut?" He was like, "Bro, because right away when you go in there,
You're gonna
this
judge.
stigma is based on what they see now.
Yes, indeed.
But guess what? You go in there, you build your character, you do all these other things you need to do.
Right.
You can kind of wear the hell what you want to wear, or look how you want to look. And I'm like, and it makes sense.
Right.
And it, you know, be certain moments like I know as a Black man, it's like, okay, I want to showcase myself, so when other Black people see me, whether that's a kid walk in,
right.
I'm like, oh, I look like that sometimes.
Exactly.
But it's tough.
Right.
Because even when we take it back to Obama, we like, damn, why Obama ain't rock the afro or something like that? He could.
He could not.
Right. So it like,
right.
How can we like structure character for our youth and even people our age? Like, how can we help structure?
I would, my position on it would be, of course, the give and feel that you go in plays a big part in it. And a lot of the things you mentioned is developmental. You know what I mean? You got to realize that these are traits that you have to display for an employer to take you serious. So let's just say, for example, in either one of our positions, well, I'll just talk about with mine. If I'm pursuing a managerial role or a promotion in any degree, when that interview time comes, first thing I need to do, I need to be on time. I need to be knowledgeable of the position I'm seeking. I need to make sure I'm sharp. I'm talking about bringing out my Sunday's best. That's just what it is. Bringing out my Sunday's best.
Sir.
While in that interview, as we talked about before, hand-eye coordination, making sure you articulate your words, and overall just giving your best effort. And then aside from that, when you're carrying out your daily duties, you need to be, your appearance needs to be A1. Your professionalism needs to be consistent. And you just need to, you know, be a role model. Look, as you mentioned, if somebody else comes into that building, they can say, hey, these are some of our best officers. And a lot of times, you know, to see somebody that look like you walking those same steps is inspirational. So I think, in my opinion, in a work setting space, you don't necessarily know what you need, but you know what you can bring in initially. And then you kind of, you know, tailor the skill set to that given position or that given field, you know. Yeah.
So how long, like, the way you dress now, how long you been dressing like this?
Whew, man, I'm talking about, a lot of how I dress now is I initially learned it from my mentor, Lawrence Axton.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Ax, man. Far as just the shirt and tie, the slacks, the suit, just the introduction of it was
Blue Mondays.
I believe, it was in high school initially.
Yeah.
And then thereafter, I had to pursue the job, as we talked about, once I put the cleats down. So this had to be, initially was in the 06, I would say 05, 06. And then from there, after high school, maybe let's just say 10, 11, or pursuing my workplace. And then from there, you fall in love with the look. You know, first it's just, oh, this is something I do for work. But no, this is how I dress.
100%. Hey, I remember I came to Atlanta. Hey, I'm in the club. I'm like, look at my boy Leon, man. I got the picture. I took the picture.
I remember you. We did talk about
boy,
it.
Like just fresh.
It's just it's an appearance, bro.
Yeah.
And then from a workplace standpoint, I'm not dressing for this job.
Yeah.
I'm dressing for the next job.
Okay.
And then from anything, if you see me dressed this way, you don't know what I do for a living. I'm keeping you guessing. Listen. I got a clean cut. I got a suit on. I got I'm dressed up. I'm ready for church. I'm ready for the corporate meeting. I'm ready for whatever. Listen, you know, so bro, it's versatility for me, bro. And I love the look.
And if you think about what era that was, 60s, 70s, what the gangsters wore the suits. You didn't know who they were.
Yes, indeed.
Right. So and I be thinking like that, man, because not particularly like for the gangster standpoint, but presentation.
Right.
Because even now I'm going through my little phase where I'm like, I want to dress a little bit different at work.
Gotcha.
You know, not just the cargo pants or the jeans. I'm about to start back shopping in Banana Republic.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? Just to give a different perception.
For sure.
But yeah, that's powerful, bro.
And it reflects leadership too. It reflects leadership. Like I'll add this in. I work downtown.
Yeah.
And when the guys that don't work down there come in there and they dress up, they say, I know Hollywood here, so I can be on point. That's all I need to hear. And it's not necessarily for them. It's just that just shows me it's a consistency with my appearance that there's an expectation. They walk in that building, they already know I'm fresh.
You already know.
To the T.
There it is. There it is. I love that, man.
Indeed. I appreciate it, bro.
But that was a good topic, man. I think Shador do have a couple obstacles to overcome.
For sure.
But with the I guess, mindset and
indeed,
everything that he kind of got going with his character.
Right. Yeah, I think he's solid. If nothing else, he got the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then last point I'll make is when he do get the opportunity to get on the field, now you got 31 other teams that get to see you.
Yeah.
So if they don't sign you, actually coming out of camp, these other teams.
And it's a lot of teams who need quarterbacks, man. Let's be honest, bro.
Man, crazy, bro. Many teams. And then even the Giants. You sign 2 1-year guys, and then you bring in the rookie from Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. So you got a starter, you got an insurance policy, then you got come on, man, make it make sense. So it's opportunity coming.
Yeah, man.
Indeed.
Okay.
Solid topic, bro.
Well, let's transition, man. We'll keep it along the sports talk, but in the sense of Shannon, man.
Shannon
Sharp.
Yes, indeed.
Interesting outtakes.
Indeed.
And just from the clips I done seen, screenshot.
Yep.
Even listening to his podcast at night, like.
Yes, sir. He spoke on it?
He didn't speak on that.
Okay.
But some of the rhetoric that he normally mentions in the podcast.
He's withheld. He's not talking like that anymore.
Well, no, like I'm saying in the sense of, about certain women he like to go after.
Gotcha.
Like the conversations like that he had. Ocho, so it's like damn, is he like that or is he not? You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
We don't know
it's
anything.
A mystery.
We don't know anything, bro. But let's talk about like that incident. So dealing with somebody with a huge age discrepancy.
Right.
Because he's
56.
And she was 19.
19.
Sheesh.
Tough.
That's tough.
Tough.
Because if you think the way I look at women nowadays, if I'm about to date somebody.
Right.
Are they on the same flow that I'm on?
Right.
Are they experiencing some of the same type of things that I'm going through?
Right.
Because that's where the connection comes in.
Indeed.
Unless you looking at the situation like, I'm trying to groom and grow a person, but even that takes a lot.
Indeed.
So this situation, man, is disheartening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you made a choice.
Right.
So now it's something that he has to live with.
Indeed.
But yeah, well, I mean, what's your take?
Man, I heard the OG say, "Don't laugh, learn." You got to learn from this, man. I'm talking about us.
Yeah.
As other black men. The biggest thing that come to mind is you got too much to lose. Under any circumstances, bro, like it's a vulnerable position, no matter how you slice it, whether it's consensual or not. Because of the age discrepancy and the optics of it, it'll never be a good look. And if it's going to affect my money, knowing how I follow this dude, considering he went to Savannah State University, we retired his jersey my senior year. Mm-hmm. So I have honestly an emotional connection to this dude. I follow him on Nightcap, and then to see the success, throughout the years, very disappointing. And I mean, let's call a spade. I'm not judging him because I've made mistakes related to my relationships with women as well. Nothing is perfect. Things happen, but in this situation, I just don't think he was reserved he was reserved consistent with the message that he sends, like him indicating he don't go on elevators with young ladies. He hadn't been to a woman's house in 30 years. So those
said all this.
Yes, I follow this dude this long. This is something he says. Wow. Why? Because he's dealt with lawsuits. He's dealt with dudes coming to the lady's house and they lying, things of that nature. To where he has these reservations dealing with women. Mm-hmm. So that's inconsistent with dealing with somebody so young to where they're the prime ones to tell lies. They're the prime ones to put you in a position. And as we talked about before we started recording, now it's affecting your money. You've had to resign. You've had to temporarily leave with ESPN, which I think is something going to be long term, consistent with Walt Disney being the parent company. It's a morality clause in there. That's in any contract with show business. It's just not going to happen. So unfortunate situation. We heard about the settlement on the front end, him trying to settle with it before it got public. 10 M's, man, that's money. I'm
That's
talking
how
about
much he wanted to
he was
settle?
willing to settle for 10
Man,
M.
see, I ain't been following it
Man.
as much as I should.
Man,
And that,
it's
ooh,
crazy.
wow.
And let's just talk about it. Between, to my understanding, he made 22 million. I mean, he been retired from the game, what, 15 years, 20 years? You made 22 million your entire NFL career. So I don't know how. I'm pretty sure he surpassed that post, as far as entertainment, and he got the liquor and things like that. But under no circumstances do I want to settle with anybody for that kind of number. So, but I just think it's just misjudgment. Definitely got to address whatever those, I ain't gonna say the insecurities, but whatever he's dealing with internally, because it's just too. It's the last point I make about it. Charlamagne spoke on it. It presents instability. You're unstable with this phase of your life because you're 56. 19 shouldn't even be appealing. No, you're a child. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're close to 20, you're a child. My life, And as you said, if you carry yourself such a way as far as business related, how you make your money, how you carry yourself, we can't even speak the same language. You don't even smoke cigars. We can't do nothing together. That's just what it is. It just, nothing's going to align with each other. And if I was to say anything else, related to being a black man, whoever you choose to make your spouse is a reflection of you. Whoever you choose to interact with, whether that's have kids with or just date, is a reflection of you. And 19 cannot be a reflection of me at 36, let alone 56. So
that's a huge.
But shout out to Ump, man. Gonna still support him. It's just it's a tough time.
He ever been married? I don't know. He never been married.
I believe his longest relationship might have been like 10 years.
Yeah.
The family guy, good father. I just think just tripping, man.
Yeah.
That's the best way that I could make it relatable. Just tripping to where, and we all trip out. We all have moments of whether it's a lustful desire, whether it's just a moment of vulnerability, whatever it may be that introduced this relationship, but in his space, looking up to men like that, you got to learn from, and know what steps to take to prevent that same experience.
Right. So let's speak a little bit deeper on that from what you were saying, like going after certain women from what you see. As we know, social media is what they call it, soft porn.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's there.
It's there, bro.
And depending on what you like, that algorithm started to change.
Oh man, that explore
page. It's in your brain all the time. So it's like being able to first and foremost, being able to dictate how you, as you mentioned, live your day to day.
Right.
Is going to actually allow you to make the right decision.
For sure.
Right. So if we think about social media, as I was referencing, I know my algorithm, I had to change recently, bro. I had to hide pages. Like, I don't want to see stories. I don't want to see posts.
I'm not interested. Yeah.
I'm not interested, bro.
Right.
We spoke on a classmate about that some weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had to just hide everything I was seeing from that person, because then it turns into those lustful desires. Right?
Indeed.
So then, as I started to kind of restructure my algorithm, I noticed my For You page started to change.
Okay.
So, now I'm seeing workouts. Now I'm seeing motivational speeches, things like that, to kind of just quickly switch my thought process.
Right, for sure.
Because if not, it's like, well, I'm on lunch break and I'm just like, and then like all of that starts to become the temptation.
Right, for sure.
So algorithm, that's one important key factor.
Indeed.
And I actually want to do a curriculum on that. I want to do a curriculum on how you can structure your algorithm to be the most successful, based on what sector you want to be in, or what industry you want to join, things of that nature.
Indeed. I'll add to it. I think it's a formula, like anything else. What you put into it is what it pumps out. So the pages you spend the most time on, what you like and what you comment on, naturally that explore page the explore page.
Explore order, or even when you swiping, it shows those recommendations.
Exactly. But it's consistent with what they see you paying much attention to. Right. And let's just call it spade a spade. As men, we are attracted to the outer layer of a woman, whether it's the curves, perfect teeth, perfect shape, and we're guilty by just, this is a part of social media, whether it's your Facebook, your IG, your TikTok, whatever you have, this is what comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you spend a lot of time doing that naturally, and I've even said to myself many times, if this is what you pay enough attention to, you're gonna ace this.
Mm-hmm.
But the other phases of your life, which are much more important, how you're doing in those areas. Right. You know, and as men, there's no way you could be pushing 40 and still chasing till 20 hours of the day. Nah, bro, you hustle successful. That's just what it is. There's no amount of money. There's no your cup is still going to be unfulfilled if this is all that you chase.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're dealing with 10 women at a time. You don't have the time. You don't have the money.
No.
It just and then it's going to get old to you because you've now, and this is a conversation I've had with you off camera, something that's supposed to be intimate for you and your mate, you've now normalized intimacy, and that's the dysfunction. That's where the therapeutic extraction has to come from. And I've learned this through experience that in order to be a better man, you have to be able to disassociate yourself with those lustful desires. Mm. So that takes church, that takes Bible study, that takes prayer, that takes understanding where these things are derived from. To where, like you said, you now you want to be more into, whether it's if you're on IG, you're seeing the meal preps, the workouts, book recommending certain books, just a healthier lifestyle, which is much more beneficial long term, as opposed to instant gratification.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I wrote something down just now because I'm thinking about my followers, or not my followers, but the people I follow.
Right.
It's mostly women, bro.
Okay.
And it's like, and now that I think about it, is it because it's a lack of men as mentors? Because if we think about the people who I kind of look up to right now, if I can think of them, Aristotle, young cat out of Atlanta, trade stocks.
Gotcha.
19 Keys, high level conversation.
Indeed.
Wall Street Trapper also, is in the stock market. But outside of that, I don't even know who I want to structure or get information from that allows me to stay on top of my game.
Gotcha.
So
good point.
Like, do you know anybody? I'm a reference
outside those guys.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Urgent Leisure guys. I follow them periodically.
Okay.
Ian Dunlap, who's with those guys as well.
Okay. I forgot Myron Golden. That's another guy.
Myron Golden, that is a good one. Maybe Eric Thomas, motivational speaker.
Okay.
Periodically, which he's
E.T.
Yeah.
Okay. E.T. the hip hop. Yeah. Okay.
Aside from him, and throw some T.D. Jakes in there, maybe or maybe my pastor Joel Tubman. You know. But that's it. It ain't many.
So that's what we miss. If you think about it. So if you think about the mistakes that we make as young men from maybe 14 to late 40s.
Right.
Lack of mentorship, bro.
Good point.
That's a
good point.
Maybe that's where we come into play, bro.
I agree.
Yeah.
I put some Coach Prime in there too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100% Prime. 100% Prime.
And I think a lot of that too, man, is the consistency of the message that you're receiving on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. How consistent are you with either searching for that motivation or searching for that, clean algorithm on your phone? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they just say it's 7 days. Of course, it's 7 days in a week. You may be sharp 5, but then it come the weekend. I'm gonna go ahead and have a look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we all get to that, man. So I just think as we mature through the years, the biggest thing is just discipline coupled with consistency. How serious you are with getting this message. Just like we talk about the gym, I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
Like I know the faces early in the morning. They know me, not even by name, just by face. Head nod, get your work in. Mm-hmm. Similar to, are you getting your motivational speeches? Are you getting your religious energy? And I think if you're consistent in those areas, that'll carry you through the week. So it's a mindset.
It is. And I like that you said that too, because sometimes I think about school structure.
Right.
Back then we had classes that was 2-hour blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Science, get to class, walk, little 15-minute break, math, etc. Lunch. Right. And then you're moving throughout your day based on structure.
Right.
Right now, it's so much freedom that we have throughout our day. So if there's no real structured blocks, like me, what I'm learning now, I got to set timers.
Okay.
So throughout my day, I'm for sure I got to read 30 minutes.
Gotcha.
So what I do, do not disturb, focus mode, read for those 30 minutes, let the counter count down, then boom, next thing. Right. Whether that's in the morning, okay, after I read, I'm a journal for the next hour. I'm going to write 3 full pages, whatever thought comes to mind, just get it out. Cool. After hit the gym, make a smoothie, but then it's work.
All right.
So now at work, that's when a lot of the times I'm kind of venturing off.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm like, I need another escape.
Gotcha.
Then I get to these pages, I'm double tap. Damn, what? You know what I'm saying? So then that's when the algorithm started to shift.
Indeed.
So now I'm trying to figure out throughout my day, do I just leave my phone in my locker, bro? Go for a walk with my break.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or during lunch, cut on, a nice little podcast,
Indeed.
some music, like something that just can keep you focused in a way.
Right.
But then also, bro, it goes back to the women. I think if you have the right woman in your life,
right,
a lot of those distractions go away, bro.
I agree.
They go away.
I agree. He that finds a wife finds favor, huh?
Yeah. Listen, so and I wanted to now transition back to the original topic of in the age gap.
Right.
What's the lowest right now age range that you would be like, okay, I give this person a shot?
To be honest, man, not even consider my age, more so my maturity, my mindset.
Okay.
The things I have an interest in, which may be categorized as boring to some.
Okay.
Probably 30 would be the youngest.
30?
Yeah. Anything younger than that, I think it just wouldn't be, it wouldn't flow well. It wouldn't be evenly yoked. I think somebody maybe at that 30 age, is serious about, checking their emails, credit score, it's either starting a business or their profession. They're looking for similar things, So if I was to put an age on it, probably 30.
30.
Probably would be the youngest that I would go as far as seriously thinking this person would be a spouse. And to be honest, to be at this stage now, it took time, man.
Yeah.
And there's several factors that play a part in it. But you need somebody, whether it's not necessarily from an economical standpoint, but just more of a emotional balance.
Yeah.
Emotional
100%.
balance. Yeah, especially as a black man, you're dealing with so much during the week, doing your given day. You need that support, somebody that's considered a teammate.
Yeah.
It's ain't got nothing to do with finances. That's the biggest conversation I have.
Nothing to do with finance.
Strictly just somebody that views you as a teammate. They're not, and I think teammate also talks about compatibility. It ain't necessarily, and this is again, learning experience. It ain't necessarily what you're attracted to. It is somebody that you're compatible with. That you're attracted to as well, because looks are gonna fade, but that mind should get sharper through the years. Now, granted, your motor skills is gonna slow down as you get older. That's just a given. Those are just human nature. But I just think that intellect has to be on the same page to where you guys don't see each other in defense. You see each other as a one unit that can help each other, whether it's from a credit standpoint, income standpoint, opportunities, building each other up, whatever it is. To wake up in the morning and have somebody that you can look at and say, we got each other. It takes a lot. That's a blessing.
Takes a lot.
That's a major blessing.
Takes a lot.
I'm speaking it to existence, man. Pray for me, y'all.
Yeah. Hey, pray for me, boy. I've been singing for woo.
Yes, indeed.
For me, I think 27, lowest I'll go right.
Okay.
27. I think because they have lived a decent portion of their life where they made mistakes.
Okay.
Kind of restructured their career.
Indeed.
And I meet a lot of women right now, 27, 28, managerial roles.
Indeed. Oh, nice.
Yeah. Young doctors, young lawyers, got their own business, not just, I ain't gonna put a title on that, but they got their own business, right? So, it, like you said, depends on the sharpness of the mind, the type of conversations,
indeed,
and the connection, man. A lot of times, it's a lot of small talk,
right,
that goes on in that text box.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah.
And I'm the type of guy. I'm a sporadic person.
Okay.
Hey, you free? All right, let's go meet up here.
Gotcha.
Like all that planning and all that, bro. It's exhausting.
I agree.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's not. I love to plan a good day. Like if I know we both off Sunday. All right, boom. Let's do this Sunday.
Indeed.
But if I get off Wednesday at 5 and I know you get off at 4,
gotcha.
I'm gonna hit you. What's good?
Let's do it.
Right. And that's kind of in the lane that I'm moving, man. But yeah, 27.
Okay.
To I can't go over 33 though.
Oh, you're not going? You don't want nobody? Oh, I need the cap. Oh, your cap is 33.
My cap 33.
Wow.
Yeah. My cap 33.
27 to 33.
Yeah. if I have a relationship, which means I kind of already know you,
right?
I push it to 35.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
But like somebody new and you pass 33, it's like, like you kind of already hardened in your mind and
Yeah. Man, oh, okay. Let me just add in because I didn't give a cap.
Yeah, give a cap. Then we'll move on to the next subject.
My cap is 40, to be honest.
40. Okay.
40, because I feel like at that age, I know for sure there's intellectual alignment. Because I'm not even gonna chop it up with you if I don't. Whether it's the pronunciation of words, whether it's the way that you text, whether it's the way that you dress, whether it's the way that the business you have, where you employ that. There's going to be some alignment there. And also knowing that where we're from, let's just call it what a spade, bro. Being from Miami, public school system. There is when you are a black man that can read and write and conduct yourself well and you make good money, you are in a top 5%. That's just what it is. So sometimes, and I know for me, spade, I like women that are naturally from Miami. Now, granted, there are some scholars out there. But a lot of the times, being guilty to the vanity, being guilty to the exterior of a woman. And sometimes that's where I fall for it, because you're falling for the curves, you're falling for the pretty face, but where's the intellect?
Yeah.
I don't want to see you on social media half dressed or talking down on men or just, the prototypical energy that you see, So I think for me that 40 presents stability, peace, experiences, and the desire. That's where the disconnect, I think, for me, a lot of experience is, do you desire me to be here? You don't have to need me here, because you got your own, I got my own. But do you desire my presence in this,
and that desire is strong too.
Do you desire me?
Yeah.
And then even if your mom didn't have a husband, or your grandparent didn't have a husband, I'm not even gonna knock you for that. I want to see if you can display my presence here. And it ain't something where I'm being a macho man or being overbearing. No, I know what I present to a household. And do you desire me here? Because if you desire me here, now your whole community is going to accept.
They're going to embrace. Yeah, it's going to be embraced.
And that's the experience that I'm seeking.
Hey,
crazy.
I couldn't have said it better.
We dove a little deep today, bro.
We had to, and I wanted to, because of anytime you're choosing a woman, it's very imperative based on those traits that you mentioned.
Indeed.
And then the longer you're single, I think you become jaded from that experience, right?
For sure.
I can admit I've been jaded. Sure. I've been single since 2019.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of experiences where I'm not connecting with women as often as I can.
Gotcha.
Because of those one-offs where I can, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I can read you too.
Yeah. So it's like now I'm being able to break that barrier. It's like, okay, now I'm asking these tough questions early.
Gotcha.
And if you like, oh, like, why you asking me that? You just met me. Maybe you ain't the one.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to go through that type of kind of thought process to think about that and share that with me openly, because y'all say y'all want a man who loves you for your character, not your looks.
Indeed.
You ain't getting them.
Right. And it's just you being intentional. You're just intentional on what you want, bro. Yeah. I remember that, man.
But anyway, man, hey, man, I'm gonna just say one thing. They always listening, bro.
Yes,
stay off them phone calls. What are you doing?
Oh, man. Shout out to it, man. Shout out to OG, man.
Shout out to man. All right. Last topic I think is very imperative in the world that we're living in right now.
Gotcha.
From normal people, bro.
Okay.
Pulling guns and taking that decision to a next level by pulling the trigger. Right. So like open gun carry laws. And even in states that don't have open gun carry laws, I think it's becoming an issue where that's the number one decision that they go to for anything.
Yeah.
Somebody walking on your lawn, you want to just shoot. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody blow the horn at you and you having a rough day.
Right.
Shoot through the car. Like,
crazy.
Like what's like? mental health for sure.
Right.
But let's talk about open gun carry laws, man. Like, should there be a deeper background check? And honestly, can we elaborate on that? You know, just based on.
Well, my take on it, man.
I'm saying just based on professionalism for you.
I just surface level.
Surface level. Okay. Level,
yeah.
Okay.
So I would say my position on it. To my understanding, we have an open carry law now in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Of course, I believe this was signed by the governor, apparently. Mm-hmm. To your point, mental health is a big thing, and I think, typically, I think we as society, we lean towards some sort of like driver as to why things are happening. And I do think mental health plays a big part in it. I would go to the vetting process. You got to vet. That's just what it, whether it's your pawn shop, your gun shop, gun shows, whatever it may be, there needs to be a much more thorough vetting process in order for you to get this weapon. Not necessarily your age and the ID, and you having enough money in your pocket. What else can you do? Let's run a record check. I would go as far, let's check out your grades. Let's run your transcript, family. Indeed, because I think it'll signify your character to an extent. Because that's basically what you're trying to figure out, a quick character. You're trying to figure out somebody's character before you hand them over that weapon, in exchange for whatever the cost of it is. Mm-hmm. I think another thing that comes into play is emotional intelligence. You have to be able to manage your emotions in high stressful situations. Just because there's a disagreement or there's disrespect that takes place. And I remember hearing even, shout out to Nipsey Hussle. We got to learn how to handle disrespect better. Walking away is literally an option.
Yeah, conflict management, bro.
Indeed. Now, granted, protection, you have to protect your family. Don't get me wrong with that. And I think it's just situationally, but the gun cannot be the first option. Yeah. And I just think as long as if there's an effort to tighten down the vetting process, to make a character decision, more firmly, I just think this is the world that we live in. I do think there's necessity. I just think situationally, you need to be smarter about it, because that decision, that quick decision you make is going to affect you and your family, for generations to come. Whether it's your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, etc. If you make that decision, you make the wrong decision, it can affect your family. Regardless. Even if you're in a protective role, the other person's family, if God forbid the worst case scenario, that person is deceased, now you're dealing with that person and their family and all the things that come with it, whether it's on the criminal side or civil side. So my position.
Okay. Man, the way I look at it, because I'm a gun owner, I have a couple. The first moment I decided to buy, when I was living in Kentucky.
Okay.
House got broken into twice. So I'm thinking like,
man, that sounds like my.
What if I was home? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm thinking in the sense of, protection,
right?
And not in a sense to cause bodily harm, but it could be a warning shot sometimes.
Indeed.
Right. So just to create that space of protection, security, etc. Along the way with the music, I was a little bit impressionable. Dracos and all these things. Like, I started to become a collector. I'm like, okay, let me look into some of these. Going to the gun range, like, damn, I like the way this fire, etc.
Right.
Even from down to the long range FNs and all these other things. Like, becoming a gun collector, it started to become fun.
Gotcha.
But see, now I'm thinking if we want to limit these opportunities for these situations to happen, there have to be some type of way where they limit how much ammo you can buy.
Gotcha.
Right. So boom, maybe it's a system tied to something.
Right.
You present your ID. Okay, boom. Well, man, you just bought 30 rounds last week. Like, what's happening? Are you hunting?
Right.
Now it has to be some type of system where it's trackable, traceable, etc.
Exactly.
If we want to limit this this climate that we're in when it comes to the FSU incident, or co-workers feeling a certain way, or whatever it may be. And some situations are uncontrollable, right? Let's be honest, but it just something has to be done.
I agree.
I don't have the answer. I wish I had the answer. And we know that, being able to protect yourself has always been around. Even back in the Bible days, they had swords.
Oh, indeed.
Boring arrows, things like that. So
right.
Something gonna come from it, man. But I just think mental health has to be the first stance that we have to tackle.
Indeed. And I'll add in too, I mean, it's a warfare thing, I think in any, when we talk about like the principles of life, warfare is a part of that, whether you're protecting your family, or, it's some sort of economical gain. That's just kind of how things have been historically. But I just think, of course, we know it's an economic thing. It's an economic issue presently because, it's politics tied into it. Of course, some things we can't necessarily discuss in depth, but I think when from a political standpoint, when there's a lot of monetary things connected to it, it's going to take time to change. That's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But to reiterate, I think there needs to be much more of a strenuous assessment, based upon that person's character. As you mentioned, a much more detailed database. If you bought 30 rounds 7 days ago, ain't no way you buying another set of 30 rounds.
Yeah.
Where you headed? What you got going on?
Exactly.
These are the questions that need to be asked as opposed to, well, how much you got? $1,500? Okay, we'll take that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, hell, we limit people from going to stores and buying Jordan.
There it is right there. Hey. Right. So the same thing though. And last point you said was just the mental health aspect.
Yeah.
And you got some mental health issues, to where, suicide ideation and things like that come into play. I just don't get how other people become a part of those plans, so your mental health should be a strong emphasis. Yeah. So that's my position.
Last quick thought in relation to, kind of gun laws, but kind of separate topic.
Okay.
The term YN. What's your take on that? But do you feel like that's just a way for, the other side to be able to be like, that young nigga over there? You know what I'm saying? Because now you don't have to say nigga.
Right. In my opinion, I think it's a lot of ignorance attached to it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, it originated from social media, and it's just a way of categorizing, young black men.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. That's just kind of what it is. Now, granted, they wearing the ski masks, they're carrying the modified guns. They're not helping the cause. But when it's you're being labeled pretty much. It's no different than being called a bully or troublemaker in school. Same thing. I just think, through the different times and eras, it's going to be different phases. They're going to be different labels that's going to be associated with certain age groups. And right now, it's the YNs.
Yeah.
And a lot of them embrace that term. And it is used loosely because it's kind of a joke in some cases. I know it's some dude, I think Rico Funny or something like that, a dude on social media. Every post he makes is about YN.
When he slowed down, I ain't gonna lie. Listen,
where's your creativity, bro? But that goes to my point of, if it's a monetary gain attached to it, people just sell their souls for it, man. Yeah. So in my opinion, I think it's something where young cats need to be much more educated and take away the ignorance of, I don't want to be called that. If you don't want to be called that term, dress a certain way, conduct yourself a certain way. And there's no way you in 11th grade or 10th or a grade school period and you carry around a modified weapon. What enemies do you have?
Yeah.
I don't remember from the age of 12 to 18 beefing with anybody. But what is it about? Like, no, man. So I just think it's just different times and it's just a different label that's going to change 10 years from now. Same thing.
Yeah. That's right. All right, man. So I think next week topics, even just branching off the end of this conversation, financial literacy.
Indeed.
I think that I would say that's the answer to a lot of problems, but it will keep a lot of people busy, higher goal setting, things of that nature.
Indeed.
And we might have a guest next week, man.
There it is.
We might have a guest next week.
Stick around.
Stick around, man.
Stay tuned.
This was episode 6, man.
In the book.
Conversation.
Indeed. Solid, bro.
I really like this one, man. So
Indeed.
We'll be here, man. We might switch days. We're looking for, new opportunities to create engagement, but
Indeed.
Stay tuned, y'all. We out. Peace.
Solid, bro.